It is Monday, August 4th, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today presented to you by a Mountain Dew. Looking for a refreshing, citrusy kick this summer? Go grab yourself a Mountain Dew. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. Hope everybody had a happy, healthy baseball weekend out there. Things are getting interesting, Trevor.
They are. There's some races that are getting tighter, some teams that are pulling away. It's baseball's in a great spot. I was just talking to Jake about the dog days, and I feel like I'm not in the dog days yet. I'm still very excited about the game of baseball. Like it's still good. And I don't think I'll get into dog days this year. Maybe I will. Maybe in a couple weeks.
Well, in part because even the teams that are at the bottom of the standings are playing some interesting baseball, including the Colorado Rockies, who gave us maybe the game of the year.
High drive, deep left field, way back. He's done it! Unbelievable! I've never seen anything like this. 17-16, the Rockies win it!
That-a-way, Brenton Doyle. They were down 9-0 before they even had their first ups and came back and won. That deserves a tip of the cap, even though I'm not wearing one today.
It's like such opposite ends of the spectrum. You're the Pirates, you want to throw up. And if you're the Rockies, you're obviously very excited about coming back. That stadium, they got a lot of ball right there, a lot of runs scored. I've said this, they have some fun hitters in that lineup. They have like a fun team. To watch.
Yeah. First team in 19 years that allowed 9 runs in the first inning and won by then Cleveland Indians against the Kansas City Royals. All right, we're going to start today's show in Beantown. Sox have won 7 of their last 8. They swept Houston. Boston now leapfrogs New York. They are only 3 back of Toronto in the American League East. Lucas Giolito, man, oh man, he has been sensational. 8 innings, 1 run, 3 hit ball. Now, of course, the team was criticized for not adding a starting arm at the deadline. How'd that whole thing sit in the clubhouse?
Within this clubhouse, we have belief in each other. We have belief in ourselves. No matter how the deadline ended up, that we know we're a very good baseball team. We can win a lot of games.
They certainly have played very good baseball, as you can see by the standings. Were some people too critical of the Sox not doing enough last week? And is this team good enough to represent the AL in the World Series as it stands?
Yes, they're good enough to represent the AL in the World Series. And do people forget about Dustin May? Why are people so soured on him? I don't really understand that. I mean, I just saw him dice my Twins up. If you ever watched him pitch, you understand the type of stuff that he possesses. And I think going to a team like this, I believe he's making his debut on Wednesday, I think it is.
I think that's when it is.
This could reinvigorate him. He's he's been with the Dodgers, has been hurt, kind of like a weird honestly, like a weird career so far there, but an impending free agent goes to this team that really needs him. I think he's always been a guy like the Dodgers, like, oh, do we really need this guy? Like, that's not a great feeling to have. A team trades for you. They're playing baseball like this. I think a lot of the times, you'll find yourself getting a little bit, like I said, reinvigorated with the season. So, look, if you're talking about starting pitching and being upset that you didn't get Joe Ryan, you got Dustin May, who's nasty. Lucas Giolito, his last 10 starts has been absolutely phenomenal. Garrett Crochet is one of the best pitchers in the big leagues. Brian Bayo's got a low 3 ERA on the year. Like, they have everything they need right now. Cooper Criswell just had a great start against Houston as well. Like, they have everything they need right now to go make a run, and they are making a run. They look like a team that is surging at the right time, and again, like they have the roster to do it. Chris, I'm a believer. I have them in the World Series against the Dodgers.
The top 3 have been great. Crochet's been incredible all year. Giolito, as of late, has been nothing short of sensational. 8 of his last 10 starts, he's allowed 2 earned runs or less. He had a couple of blow-ups, primarily against Philadelphia, where he gave up 4 home runs. Also didn't have a great performance against the Cubs, but other than that, they've been unreal. It's the first time in more than 3 years that they're 11 games over 500. So they are playing exceptionally well. That lineup is fun. It is deep. Trevor Story on both sides of the baseball is playing, I'm not going to say at an elite level, but at a very high level. But it really comes down to the 2 guys at the back end of the rotation, the former Dodgers, Walker Buehler who's been okay. Like, he was fine in July. He was fine. And then Dustin May. And he's had more than an interesting career. For God's sakes, the guy almost died.
Yeah, I know.
In a total freak thing that happened
Eating
with
a
his
salad,
throat.
like almost dying from eating a salad is kind of the craziest sentence that you can put together.
Yes, it is. So it really comes down to those two. I still think they're a playoff team. I don't think they're a division champion, and I think I would be surprised if they represented the American League. Not shocked
Am
out
I
of my
watching a different team? Or
No.
am I blinded by the fact that I picked them to win the division? Maybe
Hold
I'm
on
biased because I want them to do well. I just think they're a very good baseball team.
Can I get a timeout?
Timeout.
For 1 second? Last week, I said, let's rank the 12 teams and how much of a gap is there between team one, and we kind of agreed that Boston at that time, I think it was maybe right before the deadline, was at the bottom, whether it was 10, 11, or 12. And I said, how sizable is the gap? Because I didn't feel like it was huge. And you were like, it's pretty big.
We're talking between
like the Dodgers. I think our example was the Dodgers and the Red Sox. And you said that's a huge gap.
I think the addition of Dustin May is huge for them. I don't know why people are so down on it.
Because he's not the first guy you think of when game-changing starting pitcher comes out of your mouth.
Have you seen, like, his stuff is so good. I made this reference on Talking Baseball. Would it shock you if he was their Nathan Eovaldi of 2017? Like, that's like the fit for him. He can pitch bulk out of the bullpen. He can start games for you, whatever you need him to do. Like, he's done it this year. I think he can be an absolute difference maker.
So I think you're thinking Eovaldi of 18.
18. I said 17. Yeah. 17 is the Astros.
Yeah. So could he be? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think part of this whole thing is that it wasn't super sexy, although we both like Dustin May, and Steven Matz is like a sneaky good pickup for them out of their bullpen. He's really found a home out there. The other thing is, like, all of the reports, forget who it was, I apologize for this, that said that Craig Breslow is not easy to deal with when you're trying to get a trade done, that some unnamed GM said it's hard. And maybe it wasn't one GM, that it was multiple. And I think that ruffles a few feathers, whether you're a Red Sox fan or elsewhere. But that stuff isn't going to matter if they end up punching their ticket, making a deep run.
10 guys with significant plate appearances on the Red Sox have an OPS plus over 100. So, like, great. The lineup is long and long. Mm-hmm. They have what I think now is a fine starting pitching staff. Like, they can get it done. So, like, I'm in, man. Like, I'm in on these guys. I think they are a fun watch. Trevor Story, as you mentioned, made some adjustments, kind of quieted some things down at the plate. He's been great as of late. That's also a huge difference between kind of where they were at the beginning of the year and where they're at now, is having him doing what he's doing offensively. Yeah, he's got his OPS up to 730. He's the last guy. He's got 101 OPS plus now. So he's finally made his way to a positive. And if he continues on that trend, Chris, I don't know. There's just a lot to like about this team.
All right. Let us know. Where's Boston sitting this whole AL hierarchy? Give us a comment down there. Boston's arch rival. Terrible weekend in Miami. Miami swept the Yanks. First time ever in a 3-game set. New York's pen lit up on Friday. That's the newly triumvirate of Bird, Bednar, and Doval combined to give up 9 runs, 10 hits, and 2 1/3. The addition of the speedster out there, Caballero, he needed his speed to chase down ball after it went under his mitt in right field. And hey, I'm old enough to remember when Yankee fans were literally jumping for joy with these additions.
Doval from the Giants?
Dope.
The Yankees got Camilo Doval!
What else can he jump?
Yeah, they got 2 back-end relievers.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be so mean to Jimmy. Well, I did. What an ass.
That was a ridiculous reaction for them. It's Yankeeville. I understand being excited about your team. Fine, sure. Those are actually, I'm okay with them being excited about the back-end relievers.
Mm-hmm.
But to act that way for Jose Caballero, that's where I drew the line a little bit right there. They were like, they couldn't believe it. Anthony Volpe this, Anthony Volpe that. And then that first game, Chris, I don't know if we're going to, I think you're going to ask me about that first game, to see all those guys blow up, Caballero have the ball go under his glove. I texted Jake right away. I was like, How's that going for you guys? I'm a little bit misery loves company right now because of my twins. So,
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Yeah, there we go.
Here's the thing. Those guys are going to have bad days. That's what happens when you're a part of a bullpen. Just for it all to enter in one cesspool at the same time.
The first game
the
with
first
the new
time out
team.
was.
But also, hey, you could just chalk it up to they're playing the Marlins, who are playing
whom we will talk
incredible
about
baseball right now.
In just a second. Here's the thing about Doval. Being on the West Coast, we probably get to see a lot more of him than most Yankees fans who don't, and that's fine. You pay attention to your team. You don't see the Giants very often. You play them once a year. So you're not seeing him. And all you see is, oh my God, the guy throws 103. Well, I can tell you, I stay up a lot and I watch the ends of games. He is rickety. And I said this before, that there are times where he is just so filthy. You're like, man, how can he not replicate that every time? And every Giants fan got in comments sections on social media was like, Yankee fans, you better tighten your seatbelt because that's the way it rolls when you have to put him in a pressure situation. And that's the way it's going to be every time.
Yeah, he lets traffic on the base pass, no doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big David Bednar guy. I really am. But how many meaningful, huge games has he pitched for the Pirates? And Jake Bird, for God's sakes, an incredible story. Really an incredible story, but a terrible month of July. And David Bednar has looked like he's pitched in 6 World Series compared to what Jake Bird has had to pitch in Colorado.
Yeah. I'm getting them up right now. There's some really bad stats for Bednar in Miami.
Yeah, he has had, you're right, some rough times. I think they're all going to be, I worry most about Bird. I really do. I do. Doval's filthy, and Bednar has really fixed himself. So those are fine.
In Miami, people are hitting 341 with a 404 and a 634 slug for the 1.038. He does not like pitching there.
So what you're saying is don't pitch him in games 3, 4, and 5 of the World Series when the Yankees and Marlins play.
Yes, I would get him
of
out of
I'll
there.
mark that down. For Yankee fans that are thinking, oh my God, the world is crumbling. We might not even make the playoffs. I still think you'll be fine. Probably not going to win the division. I hopped off 2 weeks ago, I think. I don't remember where I am in that. But after September 15th, you only play Minnesota, Baltimore, and the White Sox. So that's good for you. Now,
that's going to be so obnoxious.
Let's talk about this, Trevor. What happened with Jazz Chisholm on Saturday? He was trying to deke Edwards, a little pop-up by Goldie in the infield. So Edwards is under it. Jazz, of course, played that position, thought maybe he could get to second if the ball bounced. Instead, he got doubled off of first. Went too far, kind of bounced around a little too much. You can see it. He's watching the ball, and because he was thinking he could get to second if Edwards was going to intentionally let the ball bounce. All right, here's the reaction first from Jazz and then his skipper.
He deked it like he was going to do it. He didn't do it, but, still trying to be aggressive because I've played here before. I know how to field plays, and, sometimes you get aggressive and you get caught up. You make an out. So, yeah.
Would you do it differently next time, now knowing we know?
No.
Is there any consideration of benching Jazz?
No.
Why?
It's a guy trying to make a play. Like, I get it looks bad and it's a bad play, but it's not a case of a guy that's, dogging it or like it's it's trying to make a play. And, just because it's going bad right now and the world's on fire, I'm not just going to take guys out for giving a crap.
What's worse, the play or the reaction?
I mean, I said this to Jake. I just, his ability to turn that into the, hey, I was trying to make a positive is why he's a Major League Baseball player. Like his ability to compartmentalize and act like, that's just part of his superpower. Jazz's superpower is that type of confidence. Even when he does something like that, that's not a good play. It's not a good time to be aggressive whatsoever. Thinking you're going to beat the ball to second base because Xavier Everett's is going to drop the ball on purpose, like that's insane. And even if you do think that, like, get back to first base, I guess. Like it was a bad play. And I wish he would have said, yeah, Probably shouldn't have done that. Here's what I was thinking, but it was a mistake. Instead of, I would do the same thing over again. You would get doubled up again? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know, man. Like, it is part of what makes him a good baseball player, is his ability to just forget about those things and act like, hey, I'm still this guy. But clearly there was a mistake. Like, come on. Like, that's all just like, how could you not say that was a bad baseball play?
It looked horrific, in part because let's just play it out. Edwards does intentionally let the ball drop, and he still gets Jazz at second. Nobody's going to be like, geez, Jazz, why didn't you beat that play to second base? Not one person would ever say that if he intentionally dropped the ball. But you know what? If you get doubled off of first, everybody's like, what the fuck? What are we doing here?
It was 1-0 top of the second.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense. Now, I want to get maybe to the bigger issue, which is over the last several weeks, we have focused on the Yankees' lack of discipline on the bases. This happened with Austin Wells when he lost track of how many outs there were. He was not pulled. Boone brought him in the tunnel. He yelled at the first base coach, but he did not remove Jazz. Defensively, they have been lackadaisical at best. Do you have a problem with the way that Aaron Boone is managing this team? Should he have pulled Jazz and said, hey, guys, let's shake this shit up? I mean, we are not going the right direction.
I go back and forth on this. Like, I don't know if pulling him makes them a better team. Like, does it send a message? Okay, but you can send a message in different ways too. Like, you can have discussions with guys and maybe have some sort of meeting. Like, I don't know if that makes their chance to win against the Marlins better by pulling Jazz there. And maybe that's.
Did you ever have Ron Gardenhire pull somebody in a game that you can remember?
Not that I can remember, but he would blow you up. He would blow you up. And he wasn't afraid to use the media. So that's the thing between Boone and Gardy. Gardy had, the players back for the most part, but there was times where he would blow you up in the media. And he would do it strategically, and he'd also blow you up. I would say twice a year, Gardy would call a closed-door meeting and just blow everybody up. Sometimes it felt scripted, like he wanted to do it just to do it. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't recall him doing that, but he probably did.
All right, so I remember, was it last year or 2 years ago where Javier Baez lost track of how many outs there were for the Tigers, and A.J. Hinch brought him in the tunnel and said, get out of the game. I think he had been a repeat offender, and A.J. Hinch pulled him, and people were bringing back that clip on social media this weekend. Like, what is the difference? Is there harm in having pulled Jazz out of the game if he had done that? What's the harm?
I think there are times where you do have to take a stand, and maybe that was one of them. And it kind of looked like he was going to take him out, pulling him into the tunnel. What's crazy to me is you can't pull him in the tunnel and then yell at the first base coach in the dugout. Like, why not have the courtesy to take him down there as well? Whatever.
Right.
If you're going to yell at the first base coach, clearly it was a bad play then. So you can't go after the game and then say, oh, well, I'm not going to get mad for a guy being aggressive on the bases. That's not aggressive. Like, there's a difference between
that was reckless,
being aggressive, and then just being reckless and doing stupid things. Like, there is a difference. You can't just say every base running mistake is aggressive. It's not. Like, that wasn't a smart play. If you want to be on second base, steal second base. It's easier than ever in the game to steal second base.
I will agree with Aaron Boone right now that all this stuff obviously gets magnified when you do feel like the, quote, world is on fire. Like, I get it, everything. But it also is time and place. If Austin Wells doesn't have that base running gaff, if he has that back in early May.
That was crazy.
It was crazy. Like, that's irresponsible. And it happens. You've had it happen where you lose track.
Yes.
How many outs? It does happen. All these mistakes do. This is not the first time we're ever seeing this in baseball history. But I think the narrative is that Boone is too soft on this team. Whether it's through the media that he won't criticize Anthony Volpe and he builds him up like he's a gold glover and he's 3 or 4 defensive plays away from being at that level, and Volpe leads the American League in errors. Or if it's poor base running and he won't blow guys up. The thing is that what do I always see on social media? Well, damn it, if George Steinbrenner was alive, this isn't the way that it would go down. Well, he has been gone a long time. He's been gone 15 years. And so this is the way it goes down. And Yankee fans, I've told you this. Whether you want to accept it or not, this is it. There aren't going to be a lot of managers that are going to yell at your team and hold them accountable. That does not happen in today's sport.
I go back and forth though, Chris, because I just talked about this on Talking Baseball about how like your true character is revealed when things are going bad. So like, do you want to, when things are going bad, is Boone trying to even be like even calmer at this moment to really kind of, you know, bring them back to normal? Like, is that what he's trying to do? Like, hey, we're not going to panic, guys, because that's not what we do. We're a good baseball team, 162. Like, I think that is a good message. I don't think it appeases fans whatsoever.
No, you are pandering to the social media era in which we all live, and we understand how dangerous that can be.
But I think, so if I'm a manager, and this is the truth, okay, I would give two shits about what's being said about me on social media. It's about what's going on in the locker room. And if Aaron Boone has a better read on that than we do, then, you know, I'm sure he does because he's in there. Like, I go back and forth. Like, yeah, like, do we want to see him hold players accountable and do all that? Like, it makes sense, like surface level, but it might be deeper than that. Like, it might be a different story in the clubhouse. So I do go back and forth on this. I do.
I want to know where people stand on this. I really do.
I know as a manager, I'd be more like Boone than some hard ass. So like, yeah. I have a tough time criticizing every single thing that he does.
I agree. I think there, you know, people who are looking for yesteryear, and how many managers, how many of the 30 managers do we think would really have taken Jazz out? I used AJ Hinch as an example, but I don't exactly remember the parameters of the Baez stuff. How many of them would, and how many of them would blow him up in front of the cameras? I'm not so sure you can find a manager, even an old school guy. Bruce Bochy doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. He doesn't take shots at guys through a microphone. But I want to hear from all fans. It's not just Yankee fans. Do you want managers to do that? Have you just accepted this is the day and age we live in now? A lot of stuff to get to. Before we do move on, I want to give the Marlins a hell of a lot of credit.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They have won 5 straight series. At the beginning of June, they were 16 games under 500. They are now back to 500, and they're 6 games back of San Diego for the wild card, which still feels like a real long shot. But this is incredible. They are the first team since the Tampa Bay Rays in 2014 to go from 16 under at some point to work their way back to 500. If they make the playoffs, they will join the 1914 Boston Braves as a team that at one point was 16 under and made the playoffs. I don't think it's going to happen, but hell yes to Kyle Stowers and a bunch of these guys that are making it fun to watch Marlins baseball, which is something we haven't been able to say a lot of lately.
They've been incredible. Augusty Ramirez has been great. Obviously, Stowers, he's like, I just expect him to level off a little bit, and he just has not leveled off whatsoever. This is obviously a huge grand slam for them, just out of Dominguez's reach. They, Chris, have been pitching, bro. They have been throwing the ball since July 12th. Let me do some math here. We got 96 and 2/3 innings pitched and only 24 runs given up.
It's pretty good.
That's low twos for the people who can't do math. I can't do math. I just that's why I said low twos. They've been great. It's been fun to watch, man.
Yeah. You mentioned Kyle Stowers, 947 OPS. The only guys ahead of him, Judge, Shohei, Cal Raleigh, Kyle Schwarber. That's pretty damn good if you're going to be mentioned in that group in a category of 5. And Agustin Ramirez, I know that his WAR sucks. Defensively, he is horrific behind the plate. His metrics.
No, it's so bad.
His metrics do not love him. He needs to maybe go find a new position. But 17 homers in less than 90 games. That's one of the guys that was traded for Jazz. Awesome to see. So good for them. You know, I like it when teams. Maybe Peter Bendix is right. Maybe after all that, maybe he knew something that we didn't know. Maybe. Hey, today's episode of Baseball Today, it is sponsored by Mando. Are you on the move? I know the two of us are going to be on the move. We got Floorball 4 coming up. Got some preseason football games. Got to take my kid back to college, the whole bit. So I'm going to be packing up. That's why I started packing smarter with Mando. Mando's 4-in-1 acidified cleansing bar, shampoo, face wash, body wash, deodorant, all in one bar. It simplifies your whole hygiene routine. Saves space in your bag for the fun stuff. As somebody who's tried it, I can tell you this stuff works everywhere. So we're talking about your pits, your thighs, even those awkward spots. And Mando's starter pack, it's perfect for new customers. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash, the deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers, you get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use the code JMBaseball at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. That is SHOPMANDO.com. Please support this show. Tell them that we sent you, the dudes at Baseball Today and JM Baseball. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pits. Smell great while doing it. We continue on. A couple of walk-off homers by guys who have struggled a little bit. Cubs and Mariners, they both take home series this weekend thanks to some late-inning heroics. We are going to start out west. We will finish in the Midwest.
Out to right field. Way back there. J.P. Crawford. Turner to center. Adams back at the wall. It's good. Cubs win.
And for Justin Turner at 40 years old, his first regular season walk-off homer. Of course, he had the one against the Cubs and John Lackey in the NLCS many, many years ago. But this is the first regular season. It was interesting. I saw JT the beginning of July when the Guardians were playing the Cubs, and I asked him how he was doing because he doesn't get a lot of chances, and he hasn't done much with the chances he's received. He said, I'm a little bit like a glorified coach. And he understands his responsibility. And there have been people that have taken shots like, why are they wasting a roster spot on a guy like this? Maybe you can explain the importance of having a Justin Turner on a team that is vying for what they believe will be a World Series run.
I mean, usually I would say because he's got that postseason pedigree, can help guys down the stretch, what it's like to be in a race, but they kind of have that in spades. They got Dansby Swanson, they have Kyle Tucker, they have guys that have been there and done that, but Justin's a little bit different. I mean, he's a guy that's struggled a ton in his early part of his career, found a home. He's just been through a lot in baseball. I actually talked to him when they played against Minnesota. I was calling the games. I went down there and just said, hey, congrats, like you're still fucking going. How long are you going to play? And he mentioned he was talking about the fundamental game of baseball and how, he thinks it's kind of gone away from that. And he wants to make sure that team in particular is going to play good fundamental baseball. And I think just having that around is really special. I'm telling you right now, you need leaders in the clubhouse. You need guys to point the right direction, to steer the ship, and he's probably one of the best in the game to have in your clubhouse. That's why he's worth a roster spot.
Mm-hmm. And good for J.P. Crawford, who's been dropped from the top of the order, had a huge weekend with a couple of homers, including that walk-off, and that place was just jumping, as I mentioned it would be after those 2 monumental trades to bring Naylor and Eugenio Suarez to the Pacific Northwest. Cubs actually lost ground to Milwaukee, which had an enormous weekend offensively in their 3-game sweep of Washington. So the Cubs are 2 back. The Mariners now just 2.5 back of Houston in the West. Texas is 4.5 back. Which division between the NL Central and the AL West will be more interesting to watch over the last 2 months?
I don't even know how to answer this question. I hope you have a better answer than I do. I think I'm leaning AL West just because I like the additions that Seattle made at the deadline, what their offense has been able to do. I want to see if they're able to chase Houston down. And it's can Houston maintain that division lead, even though they're putting out what is clearly not what they thought their roster would be. Bringing Correa back into the fold, I think, adds to the drama there. So I think I'll go there. And what DeGrom has done down in Texas has been a lot of fun to watch. So I think I'll go there, but I'm also very, very interested to see if Milwaukee, who gave up their manager to their rival, and there's just so much drama in both sides. I'll go the West. I don't really have a good reason why.
Well, the West, it's obviously, if you think that Texas is a strong contender, then you've got 3 teams as opposed to 2, but I will stick with the National League Central.
I think Cincy's a strong contender as well. I really do.
Not where they are. They're too far back in that
And the division?
Yes.
Sure, okay.
So as far as the wild card goes, yes, they've got a lot to play for. There's no question. I just think 2 weeks from today, the Brewers and Cubs start a 5-game series in Chicago. Holy
Yeah, it's going to be
smokes.
awesome.
That'll be the last series that they play, and I cannot wait. Now, Milwaukee, they got some bad news in recent days. Jackson Chourio went on the injured list with a hamstring. Mizorowski went on because he didn't rebound from that shin injury that he suffered recently. They think it's only going to be 15 days, and then he'll get back. And it actually, to be honest with you, I know this is going to sound weird, might not be the worst thing in the world for a kid who's had a lot thrown at him in the first 6 weeks to 8 weeks of being a big leaguer, including an all-star game appearance where not everybody was on board for a time. I'm raising my hand for those of you that are audio only. For him to maybe sit back and just grab a breather, take a few innings off of his arm, because they're going to need him down the stretch. They're going to need him. And I want to know if Milwaukee can hang on. Every time I doubt them, which feels like about every week over the last 5 years, they just continue to go, this is who we are. Like, did you see what they did this weekend? They scored 38 runs and had 56 hits. Now, I know that the Nationals are dog shit right now, but still, I don't care who you're doing that against. That's awesome.
No, I mean, again, like losing those two guys and going out and having the series that they had is great. Yelly looks incredible. They can do it all types of ways. The Brewers are going to be there, man. I am very, very. I mean, 5-game series is nuts. It had to be a rainout, I'm assuming, right?
I believe there was a rainout. Yeah.
Why is it going to be over though, and no September games? Like that's the schedule.
So there's a lot of that. Seattle only has 3 more with Houston and none left with Texas.
Yeah.
Stinks.
I guess you can't predict exactly where every team's going to be, but that seems like you'd want some of those division games to end there in September.
That would be one of the worst jobs in baseball. Schedule maker.
We got AI to do that now.
I know, but still, it doesn't feel like it's great. I know with the NFL, they always do a major, and I know one of the guys on the on that committee that does it. He went to college with my brother, and they spit out a bunch of different scenarios, and then they go back and look at it. Obviously, NFL is a little different because you have to deal with Thursday games and Sunday night games and Monday games and late window games and all that. It's very different than the baseball schedule.
I do think we could learn something from the NFL, have like a flex schedule. Like, why not? Why couldn't we say, hey, let's move this series at the end of August. Let's switch and go to the end of September. Like I understand that there's logistics there, but I think you could make it work. Everyone has deals with all these hotels. You charter your flights. If you have enough time to prepare, I think you could do it. And right now we understand like who's going to be in the races. I think that'd be something to look at if you're Major League Baseball.
You talk about a nightmare. Are you kidding me?
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Really?
No. I don't. Like, what's a nightmare about it?
You're going to have some team that's supposed to be on the East Coast that's going to end up playing on the West Coast.
You'd have to figure it out. There'd have to be like, guardrails to it. You couldn't just upend something completely like that. But I'd be interested in taking a look and see if it could work.
I don't see any way of that working. I think there's only maybe one way. Isn't it the second or third to last series of the season, which is supposed to be like divisional or something like that for virtually everyone?
Yes.
Something like that.
That's what I'm saying. We could do it. Let me look. Okay. Let's just look at the Cubs schedule real quick at the end of the year. Who could switch?
Ahead.
Who could switch?
Go ahead. What do you have for that? I've got the Brewers schedule up. So
okay. The Cubs are at home, so this is a home series. So it's the Mets or the Cardinals.
Well, the Brewers are playing the Reds the last series of the year at home. There's no way this would. I don't even know why we're wasting time. Plouffe,
there's something there, Chris.
No way this is happening.
There's something there.
There's no way this is happening. Just saying. I love you. Not happening.
Love you, dog.
Speaking of schedules, the one in Bristol, Tennessee got all effed up this weekend for the Speedway Classic. We were supposed to do this Saturday night, boogity, boogity, boogity. at the short track race, and here comes the rain. They were delayed 2.5 hours. They eventually did start playing for an inning. The game got suspended and pushed to 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. It was kind of an unmitigated disaster. Both teams, Strider didn't even pitch. Burns barely pitched. That part was rough. When we did get ball on Sunday, this happened.
There's another drive off of the bat of White, and Eli White has hit his second home run of the Speedway Classic.
All right, so Trevor, do we like these one-off games, or does this feel like it's being jammed down our throat now?
I love these one-off games. I think the Major League Baseball has to continue with them. I think they're going to continue with them. I think they've had some really, really good ideas. This idea, everything was excellent here except for the execution and the weather. Like the idea is great.
Did you just say everything was great except for the execution and the weather?
Yeah, I mean, look, the weather you can't predict, but the execution was poor here 100%. I don't think it should deter them from continuing to do this. Just learn from your mistakes. I think we got some good things from this. I think the visuals were incredible. You're talking about bringing eyeballs to the sport. That's what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think anybody that was like a NASCAR fan probably was like, hey, what's going on here? They at least checked it out. I think that's what you're trying to do. I think we've seen other leagues try to do this. The NFL does like the SpongeBob football game, and they're traveling to different London, Mexico City, all these things. NHL does the Winter Classic where they're outside, which I think is really cool. Major League Baseball should be at the forefront of this because we have this schedule that allows, it's doesn't impact the season the way it would. And like football, I think it does impact the season. Like going and playing in these like weird environments, I don't think is great for them. I know what they're trying to do, but baseball, because of our schedule, we can take chances. And I think we should continue to do it. Again, I know this was a disaster with the concessions, and getting in and out of the park was ridiculous, and there's really no places to stay there. So logistically wasn't great, but I think the idea was good. The execution was bad, and we have to continue doing this stuff. I think it's awesome.
I would like to say the idea is an A++. I love the visuals. The freaking home run car
awesome
was incredible. Look at this thing. We're showing it for those of you that are audio only.
The jerseys were awesome.
The jersey. By the way, if you are a Reds or Braves fan and you're thinking of getting a new jersey, there's no question I am getting the NASCAR version of that. Those
awesome.
things are great. The hats were everything about that. The way it looked was phenomenal. When you read into it, was it Firefest a few years ago that drew all the headlines? That kind of reminded me a little bit of that. The stories from inside the arena are not great. The racetrack, they're not, and that's inexcusable. I'm sorry, we can't say, well, they've got to be able to fix that stuff. Dan's putting up some of the uniforms and the hats. Thank you, Dan. Very good. They look great. That part, once again, A++. But the rest of the stuff is inexcusable. You can't ask people to pay good money to go to a town where they have racing twice a year. I know there's a lot of RVs. People stay in their RVs overnight for NASCAR. I get it. I've covered it before. But you can't expect people to pay good money and take their time. Here's the other thing. Why isn't that a 2-game series? Why aren't we playing Saturday night on Fox and Sunday night on ESPN? Can somebody answer that for me?
I don't know why they wouldn't do that. I have no idea. I'm with you on that. One game doesn't make much sense. But again, they screwed up some things, but it shouldn't deter them from continuing to do that.
No, it should not. But they also should come out with a statement today, not patting themselves on the back and say, look, we sold 91,000 tickets. Look at us. They need to identify, hey, we can't do anything about the weather. Nobody's going to yell at you about that. They are going to yell at you for making people wait 2.5 hours, play a half an inning, and then get out of there. Yeah. That's a problem. And then they have to explain to me, and the only thing I can come up with as to why they didn't do a 2-game series is because Fox wanted it to be special for them so that everybody's watching them on Saturday instead of them on Saturday and then baseball on Sunday. But I think sometimes we have to look at the greater good for the sport and what we're doing for the fans. This needs to be a 2-game series. We have a Field of Dreams series. We should have done 2 games then. I don't know where they're going to have it next. I have no idea. Maybe throw some suggestions in here where you'd feasibly like to say. Don't say an aircraft carrier like they did college hoops. We're not playing there. Although it'd be really interesting.
That
if you're gonna go
wasn't
back
the
at
court
wall.
all wet from the ocean mist?
Yeah. Well, or if you are going to try and bring back a home run ball, if you don't bring it back, you're not coming back.
Jake suggested that we do something on the edge of the Grand Canyon. If you hit the ball in the Grand Canyon, it's a home run. But then he said we can't have Denzel Clark playing in that game because he might go over the wall into the Grand Canyon. So
yeah, that'd be bad. Well, we could put a net there behind him.
Maybe.
Not to catch baseballs, but to catch
We said Alaska.
Did you ever play Alaska? I've
talked but they do it in college. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, you're playing games at midnight.
I don't know if you'd want to do that, like the whole midnight thing. I don't know. I'm just scenery. I want visuals, man. This is what the world we live in right now. Like, I know that was really crabby for the people that were there, but the people that were just on their phones watching the game, like, how cool were the visuals?
Mm-hmm.
And we need substance too. I'm not saying that's all we need, but like the visuals in Alaska will be really cool.
Absolutely. Baseball Today, sponsored by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like there's advice for everything. Cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But how do you know what actually works for you? With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an App Store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. It's convenient as well. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time. It's really easy. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/baseball today. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball today. All right, we got to roll through a bunch of things here before we get out for the day. We got a new closer in Philly. New closer. Trevor Plouffe is very familiar with him, but he's got his same old entrance. Oh, the Bells made it to the city where they have the Liberty Bell. Joran was fantastic in his 2 performances for the Phillies in their series win over the Tigers. Did you see the really interesting story in The Athletic about this?
Oh, yeah. Shout out my guy Dustin Morse and the team over there for making all that happen. Yeah, go check the article out. You know, it takes a lot to come up with something like this. I believe they said it was 500 hours to put this all together, and then for them to be able to transfer it and kind of help the Phillies out with it. Mm-hmm. It is very interesting. And I think it was a good call by the Twins to let this happen because it belongs to Duran. It doesn't belong to the Twins. They weren't going to use that anymore. So it makes sense. But it is a great article. Go check that out if you're into like the production and behind the scenes type stuff, because a lot happened to be able to make that happen in Philadelphia in such a short time.
Yeah, you're talking about Dustin Morse, who's the head of the communications department with Minnesota Twins, one of the great guys in baseball, and they decided to reach out to the Phillies to help them initiate this so that they had all the video, and you hear the Undertaker's bell. Whenever you hear that, oh.
Yeah, that's great. They talk about how they conceived it and everything. That was Duran's actually input was the bells. That was one of the things that he wanted in there. And now it made sense in Minnesota. It makes a lot more sense in Philadelphia.
Sure as hell does. And it was actually interesting. You could hear Kruk, who, of course, former great Phillies first baseman and now their analyst. He's chuckling a little bit because he was like, "Oh, this is fun." You know, those guys, they don't know anything about Twins baseball. So to hear it for the first time is great.
I did see something online real quick, which I think makes sense. I want this to happen. Someone was like, I want pinch hitters to have this type of entrance. How cool would that be, dude?
I love that.
You got a guy coming out in a big situation and you freaking black the stadium out. Like, cause that's scary. You're on the opposing team. And like that happens. Like it's a little intimidating, right? Like we should do the same thing for pinch hitters. I would love that, dude.
Like at the end of his career, Jason Giambi, that's basically the role he was relegated to. Could you imagine him getting out of the dugout and all of a sudden the place goes dark?
Dude, it's awesome. It's a great idea. I think people might think that's silly, but like really think about it. We're in the entertainment business. I think it would work.
Jason Giambi, by the way, one of the great quotes of all time. Y'all can look it up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. White Sox. Good for them. We mentioned the Marlins earlier. Snaps for them. They have surpassed last season's win total. We're looking at Colson Montgomery, who has been ridiculous. 7 homers since the All-Star break. So what do we think? White Sox are getting close to respectability?
I mean, yeah, they're going to be not the worst team in the Central.
Whoa, breaking news? What are you saying?
Well, I mean, this year they probably will be, but like the Twins are behind them, I think.
Wow.
Roster-wise?
The White Sox still, they need to get their pitching. And they have a few guys that are they feel like they're coming. But Colson Montgomery, Kyle Teal, that part's nice. We'll see what Braden Montgomery, who was a part of the Crochet trade, I believe, along with Teal.
Would you be shocked? And maybe I take that back. I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe I feel still upset about the trade deadline.
Maybe you're scarred.
10 games back of the Twins.
No, they're not catching them.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm. No. I looked at it because the Twins played the Guardians this weekend. The lineup isn't horrific. It's the problem is the bullpen. Guys stripped it down to nothing.
And yes, it's going to be what decisions are made at the end of the year with the pitching staff too. Like, is it just going to be let these guys ride out? Are they going to be really super, cautious with Pablo? Are they going to limit Joe Ryan's innings? Like,
Pablo's not coming back, bro.
There could be things that happen that this team, we could be looking up at the end of the year and be like, oh my gosh, they're very close to the White Sox or even behind them. Don't rule that out.
Last thing before we get out of here, we talked about the Brewers and how great they have been. They continue to just roll over people. How about Friday night's Apple podcast? It was another food that came up when Brewers skipper Pat Murphy was being interviewed by Tricia Whitaker.
Actually, I got a little pocket pancake right here that I munch on. They're wonderful. You want some?
I would love some. Thank you so much, Pat. Oh, those are delicious. Pizza, bagels, what else do you keep in your pocket?
Whatever fits.
Whatever fits. There you go. You heard it here from Pat Murphy first.
Come on, Pat. What are we doing?
Clean it up, Pat.
Whatever fits. Do we? I mean, he talked about it in his post game. He has had pizza in his pockets. What are we doing?
I mean, I'm not against a pocket snack. Like I'm for pocket snacks, but like
seeds, gum, yes.
Like, how clean are your pockets? Like, you've been sitting on it all game. Like, and pizza, are you sitting on pizza? Are you exclusively standing when you have these things in your pocket? I need to know more. I'm interested.
Are you?
Pizza seems like no way for me. A pancake I get, because if it's just a regular buttermilk pancake, it ain't gonna like stain your pants or anything like that. It just kind of sits there. It's dry.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't know either, dude.
I am always willing to eat at any time, and I have been known to dump a handful of M&Ms in a pocket before. I've been known to do it.
But I mean, guys do it all the time when you get taken out of a game. Like, you get pinch run for, you go in, you put some gummy snacks in your hooded sweatshirt in the front of it, and you just have a nice little time.
Yeah, well, I don't think I could do gummy snacks in a hooded sweatshirt, because then won't some of the little strings of the sweatshirt get on your gummies?
Maybe.
Yuck. I'm out.
Depends how like sticky your gummies are.
They're gummies. The whole idea is that they're sticky.
Yeah, maybe.
Plus summertime perspiration. No, that's
Tricia Whitaker taking a bite, like.
Yeah.
What a dog.
I would have gone on the opposite end where Pat
way.
had not taken a bite yet. I would have gone at the bottom.
Yeah, that was a surreal moment for me. I said, I texted Jake right away. I said, what is going on?
Yeah. I think I got to reach out to Trish and ask her about that one.
Yeah.
She did a great job. She's awesome.
Viral moment.
Made a moment. Didn't think we were going to go there. Want to know what people are thinking. Are we good with what Pat Murphy's doing, or is it a little? Do you have more or less respect for him today? I think we got to ask maybe a Brewers player.
I feel like par for the course, Pat Murphy.
Yeah.
Any other manager, like, what? Like, this guy might be a psycho, but Pat Murphy, like, oh, yeah, he is a psycho.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're on board.
Yeah.
All right. We got a short week this week because we're not going to have shows Thursday and Friday. We've got Floorball 4 that we have to get ready for. What are you shaking your head about?
I'm not ready for this. It's a lot of running.
Oh, come on. You're a professional
I'll be ready. I'll be doing
athlete,
push-ups. When everyone else is taking water breaks, I'll be doing push-ups in the middle of the freaking rink. You know that.
Yes. I saw, by the way, we don't want to give away teams or drafts or anything, but
I'm happy.
Yeah, you better be.
I'm not as happy as I would be if we had the same team.
Okay. We're back at it again on Tuesday for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer. That is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I'm Chris Rose. We'll see you Tuesday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew.